In 1951, a group of Quakers came from Alabama, and it's part of their ethic to conserve. And so they purchased 3,000 acres, and 1,200 of those acres were still virgin forest, and the group decided to leave it that way just to preserve the watershed. So it was an unofficial preserve for a number of years. But when it got to into the 70s, at land adjoining their forested area, which had been virgin forest, people started moving into it and cutting bits and pieces. Not too much had been cut, but you could see the handwriting on the wall. The Monteverde Cloud Forest Preserve was founded, and they were purchasing land and got to a point that they were no longer purchasing much. But a group of us here in the community, which included business people, teachers, professors, professional biologists, but a lot of just neighbors that were interested in preserving more, they said, well, let's start a new organization and try to preserve more of this land. And since a lot of the land going down the mountain, you notice how dry it was coming up here, it needed to be preserved too, because there are animals that move up and down the mountain. We want to basically preserve biodiversity for as many species as possible, both plants and animals, and in many cases it takes a large area. So we formed an organization in 1986 and made contacts with the World Wildlife, Nature Conservancy, and many other organizations, and they raised some seed money to get us started. Well, a couple years after we founded the organization and had made down payments and bought a few farms, one of our members was visiting in Sweden, and she made contact with a grade school out in the countryside, and gave a talk, and the children, 9 and 10-year-olds, they were so interested, they said, well, let's buy a piece of land for our school, in the name of our school, or the children. So we received money from them, and television crews and newspapers in Sweden got hold of the information, and they started broadcasting about it. And after a few years, practically every school in Sweden was sending us money. We set up a sister organization in Sweden, but now we have them in England and Germany and Japan, as well as the States and Canada. And so it became something that the kids were interested in. So we thought, well, since they've done so much, let's call what we have purchased the children's rainforest.